The Austin GP is right behind the corner, and it seems like Mercedes is going to face some difficulties ahead of it. Although the Silver Arrows have planned upgrades for the W14, it seems like the car will not make a significant leap in performance, something that they desperately need, not just for the last 5 races of the calendar, but for the upcoming campaign as well. Russell has spoken about the 2024 season, and his news was quite worrying for the Mercedes fans, especially if you add the fact that for the larger part of the second half of 2023 season, McLaren has been the faster team compared to Mercedes. Is this the beginning of the downfall of Mercedes, and is the W15 going to be yet another data collecting car for the Brackley-based squad? It goes without saying that Mercedes had a rollercoaster season in 2023 yet again after failing to understand the 2022 technical regulations that saw Red Bull set sail in the right direction and annihilate everybody for the second consecutive season. However, after understanding what needs to be done on the car, Mercedes has ditched the zero-pod design of the W14 and built a completely new car, a B-spec more precisely, and they're looking to upgrade it to the maximum possible level in order to challenge Red Bull for race wins in 2024 more frequently. Even Wolff has admitted that turning the ship around in this industry is a mission very easily said, but hardly done. And that's one of the reasons why his team has been struggling to the extent of Hamilton and Russell having 6 podiums and 1 pole position combined. Still, with Hamilton in the fight for the P2 in the Drivers' Championship and Mercedes pushing to make a larger advantage over Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship, it's all to play for in the last 5 races. This, however, makes the latest Austin GP upgrades even more significant than you would originally anticipate. And for example, the car with which Mercedes is going to finish the 2023 season is going to be largely the one that they're starting the upcoming season with. Of course, Wolff promised that nothing is going to remain the same, but the technical regulations are not going to change. And that just shows that if Mercedes don't find more performance out of the W14 in Austin, the race in which they're bringing an upgrade to the floor, then that would be something that has the potential to actually demoralize the drivers and the technical staff even further. Elaborating on this, George Russell feels like the team is still not in a position to make any promises for 2024's competitiveness, despite Wolff saying that the team will be in a much better position, and Horner fearing that Mercedes are plotting to get back on top in the upcoming campaign. We'll get to this later in the video. First, we wanted to talk about the floor upgrades and why they're so important for Mercedes, not just for 2023, but for 2024 as well. Austin is the race that Mercedes has chosen to bring a new upgrade to the floor of the W14 because one of the main issues that the Silver Arrows have with the W14 is adding downforce without making the car bounce. As Hamilton said, adding downforce as a sole mission is not an issue for his team. Doing so while avoiding the bouncing phenomenon, though, is definitely something that they need to work on. For that, they would have to use Austin as the perfect track that has a mixture of high and low speed corners, and this is where Mercedes can make a large difference with the upgraded version of the floor. The 2022 and 2023 cars use the floor as the main generator of downforce, unlike the 2021 cars, which used the front and rear wings as the main producers of downforce. Nonetheless, Mercedes brought back one of the most genius minds in Formula One's engineering sport, James Allison, and gave him his old position back in order to make the team more competitive. A mission that, which seems to be a failed one for 2023, is definitely everything that the team lives on for in 2024. Elaborating on the new upgrade in Austin and what is the bigger picture here for Mercedes, James Allison went on to emphasize the importance of the 2024's car and how this upgrade will lead everyone from Mercedes to understand whether or not it's working, or they would have to find a new solution for it. He went on to say, "We will have modified surface of the floor, but don't expect important things. It will give us a bit of lap time, but above all, it will help us understand if we are on the right path. In Suzuka, there were some things that we liked about our car and other not so much. In Singapore, there was everything we liked and nothing we didn't like. Qatar is a bit of a middle ground." However, he couldn't help but stress out the importance of the bouncing phenomenon, one that Mercedes is actively looking to get rid of for the remainder of 2023 and, of course, the entirety of 2024. As Allison continued, "We would like to get rid of it completely. We are still dealing with a bit of bouncing, and this can also vary based based on the wind or whether there is a wake or not. These cars are different from the previous ones, but in the end, the setup work is the same. The surface is more important, but then we always talk about ground clearance, stiffness, air vents, and blah, blah, blah. But with both of its drivers having an intensified battle in the team, something that could create a toxic environment to work in, maybe the car would not be a priority to be fixed at Mercedes after all. Still, even though the floor is going to give Mercedes a lot of hope for 2024, they cannot place all of their trust in one single floor upgrade for their car to be massively competitive in the upcoming season, something that Russell has said amid his team principal's claims that 2024 will see a more competitive outlet from Brackley. It's very important for the driver to feel extremely confident and safe in the car, something that has been quite an issue for Mercedes in 2024, and that's why Wolff has promised that in the following months there will be no stone unturned in order to make the car exactly as Hamilton and Russell prefer it. Elaborating on this, Wolff went on to say, "We have to get back to basics. I don't want to hear Lewis say anymore, my cockpit is too far forward. We know what we understand and we will not pay attention to what we do not understand. The biggest problem is that the drivers have no confidence in the car. We have to give them a solid foundation to score points. There is only one man at the moment who stands head and shoulders above the rest." Ferrari, Aston Martin and McLaren and us are in the same situation. At least we are second in the Constructors' Championship because after all these years we have learned how to optimise our results. It's just that no one comes close to Verstappen. However, Russell feels that the team can't make any promise about the 2024 form, mostly because they have such a long road to cover, which is the last news that any Mercedes fans would want to hear after two desperate seasons have gone by. Yes, they did have the third and now the second fastest car in those seasons, but with the leaps that have been made from McLaren as well as Aston Martin's exceptionally strong first half of the season, there is never an opportunity to rest and lift your foot off the pedal, and in this case it seems like Mercedes is far away from its target. Russell has echoed the F1 expert's opinion that placing all your bets on one winter break is just too optimistic of a move, and when talking about what he expects from the car in 2025, he went on to say, "When we look at our car, we see a number of flaws in it. It's not like we're looking at it scratching our head thinking, where can we improve it? We think there's loads of places we can improve it. We've made some really good findings recently with regards to the aero of the car and some of the bits and pieces on the car, which is looking very promising. But we can never promise what we're going to deliver over the winter in terms of a result because it's a relative game. We can only focus on ourselves. But I'm extremely confident in my team and very confident in the decision makers and the direction we are heading, that we've made some really great learnings and we won't trip up and make a mistake as we have done these past few seasons." Although the stance is quite optimistic in Mercedes, Russell has stated the obvious. Catching up to Red Bull in the matter of one winter break is not the reality we should expect, even though we've been slowly but surely led up to it. Nothing would delight the fans more to see both Mercedes drivers fight for a championship, but as of now, the realistic scenario projects the W16, which is going to come in 2025 to be the next big thing in Mercedes. Do you think Mercedes has what it takes to beat Red Bull in 2024? Let us know in the comments below.